Thursday night was the final debate between President Trump and old Joe, and America got to see a new and improved Trump 2.0, who was calm and collected and very gentlemanly, but still systematically dismantled Joe Biden. When the candidates first took to the stage, old Joe was wearing his face blankie to virtue signal to the world that he loves his mask. He even held it up to the audience as he pledged allegiance to it.
What I would do is make sure we have everyone encouraged to wear a mask all the time. I would make sure we move in the direction of rapid testing, investing in rapid testing. I would make sure that we set up national standards as to how to open up schools and open up businesses so they can be safe.
It sounds like you would do exactly the same thing that the Trump administration is doing, which is why Mike Pence pointed out that you have plagiarized their plan. And when the moderator explained that she would be cutting the mic of the opponent so that they wouldn't be interrupting each other, Joe Biden couldn't help but arrogantly smirk.
Debate will cover 6 major topics. At the beginning of each section, each candidate will have 2 minutes uninterrupted to answer my first question. The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired.
He caught himself pretty quick there and straightened his face out, but we know that the Democrats love silencing us. They didn't really need to mute the mics, though, because President Trump was, well, quite presidential.
Let's talk about schools. President Trump,
I think we have to respond, if I might.
Please, and then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Look, all he does is talk about shutdowns, but forget about him. His Democrat governors, Cuomo in New York, you look at what's going on in California, you look at Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Democrats all, they're shut down so tight and they're dying. They're dying. And he supports all these people. All he talks about is shutdowns. No, we're not going to shut down, and we have to open our schools.
Joe Biden, on the other hand, didn't have much to say.
All right, I want to talk about both of your different strategies to handling
He thought
this.
I shouldn't have closed the border.
Well,
That's obvious.
Do you want to respond to that quickly, Vice President
No.
Biden? Okay.
No, I don't want to dig my hole any deeper. Joe was so dull, in fact, that he called the Proud Boys the Poor Boys.
He says about the poor boys. Last time we were on stage here, he said, I told him to stand down and stand ready. Come on. This guy has a dog whistle about as big as a foghorn. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Since the alt-right doesn't really exist anymore and Richard Spencer endorsed Joe Biden, seriously, he did, the Proud Boys are the new boogeyman this election.
As someone just said in the chat, are you still voting for Biden? Yes, I'm voting straight Democrats, and that includes Joe Biden. Okay, so who won the debate? Well, I think it was kind of a draw, but I think that's good for Trump. And I say this as a non-Trump supporter. So, look,
the leader of the alt-right who denounced President Trump years ago is seriously, literally, not sarcastically endorsing Joe Biden. Then there was the part when Joe Biden accused President Trump of putting kids in cages after they sneak across the border, but he never anticipated Trump's response.
Let me ask you a follow-up
Kristen,
question.
they did it. We changed the policy.
Your response
they
to that?
They did it. We changed.
did not
They built the
separate
cages.
the
Who built the cages, Joe?
Let's talk about what
Who
we're
built the
talking about.
cages,
Let's
Joe?
talk about what we're talking about. What happened?
What happened was the Obama administration started doing that, the Trump administration continued the practice, and then Democrats lost their mind, so they stopped. And thankfully, President Trump cleared up the fake news about him having a secret Chinese bank account after his tax returns were leaked, and they showed that at one point, the Trump organization as a business had a bank account in China, as all international businesses do. But, well, you tell us, Mr. President.
The bank account you're referring to, which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was opened it was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it, and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open, and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president.
Of course, the moderator did her best to help protect Joe Biden from having to answer questions about him and his son's shady international business dealings. But President Trump obviously wasn't going to let that slide.
But you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse. All of the emails, the horrible emails of the kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family, but what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Well, Mr. President, that's what one would expect him to do, but he's going to continue to ignore it with the help of the liberal media industrial complex, which is pretending that it's just Russian disinformation. But even they had to admit that President Trump did fantastic.
Donald Trump was much more disciplined. He wasn't doing all the interruptions. He actually had a theme at times. The theme that Joe Biden is a politician. When Biden would come up with something, why didn't you do it when you were in power? 47 years, why didn't you do it?
Even though I do think, again, that Biden struggled when Trump confronted him with the question of, you've been in politics for 47 years, you were vice president for 8 years, why didn't you do that then? I thought that was the most effective thing that Trump did.
Well, let's go to our team standing by. David Axelrod, just for everybody's quick take, what did you think?
Look, fundamentally, if you're ahead and you get a draw, you win. And both of them were better than they were last time. But I thought that Joe Biden held his own, and that's all he had to do.
Well, if David Axelrod, President Obama's former senior advisor, says that the debate was a draw, then you know that Joe Biden lost. And here's a clip from a press conference President Trump mentioned, held by Hunter Biden's former business partner.
On May 2nd, 2017, the night before Joe Biden was to appear at the Milken Conference, I was introduced to Joe Biden by Jim Biden and Hunter Biden. At my approximately hour-long meeting with Joe that night, we discussed the Biden's history, the Biden's family business plans with the Chinese, with which he was plainly familiar, at least at a high level.
But with all this talk about the Russian bots again, I've decided to have a 20% off sale from any of my shirts from markdice.com if you use the promo code RussianBot, one word, at the checkout. You can even get yourself this nice Russian bot shirt. Or it might be a good time to save 20% off your I Love Global Warming shirt, the classic Liberalism Find a Care shirt, or any of my awesome designs. So head on over to markdice.com or click the link in the description below, enter the promo code RussianBot, one word, at the checkout, and check them out.